The first thing the Arctic takes from you is not warmth. It is direction. For 180 days, the world can shrink to wood, flame, ice, and the sound of your own breathing. You're not locked behind stone walls. You're trapped inside weather. A remote whaling station could mean shelter, work, and profit. In winter, it could also become a place that quietly erased men. There is no road out, no open harbor, no ship returning until the ice allows it. And the ice has no reason to hurry. In the 19th century, whale oil helped light homes, streets, ships, and workshops far from this frozen coast. But out here, that light came from men waiting between profit and death. The station is small. The Arctic is not. To survive, you learn the first rule before anything else. Never let the fire die. The hut is not warm. It is only less deadly than outside. Every wall leaks cold. Every gap becomes a blade. You block the openings with cloth, rope, scraps of sail, anything that slows the wind. Outside, the cold does not feel dramatic. It feels immediate. You move slowly because panic wastes heat. You count steps to the storehouse because in a whiteout, distance disappears. Turn the wrong way, and the station becomes a rumor behind you. Food becomes mathematics before it becomes hunger. Salt pork, hard bread, beans, tea if you're lucky. Freshness disappears first. Then the body begins asking for what the station cannot give. Without fresh food, scurvy waits quietly in the blood. It does not arrive like a storm. It arrives as weakness, swelling, and fear. You ration food. You ration fuel. Soon you begin rationing hope. Every flame is a decision. Burn more now or freeze less later. Whale oil can give light. It cannot give certainty. After the cold, the station teaches you its second rule. Listen before you move. A crack in the ice. A shift in a roof. A silence that lasts too long. Out here, sound becomes a map of danger. You keep tools ready, not because you feel strong, but because hesitation costs heat. A broken hinge can become a frozen door. A frozen door can become the end of the room. So every day becomes maintenance against disappearance. You clear snow from the roof before shelter turns into weight. You check the barrels because supplies do not fail loudly. They simply run out. You mark the days, but soon the days begin to look the same. Morning, if it comes, is only a different shade of gray. Night, if it ends, never truly leaves. This is where isolation stops being an idea and becomes a physical thing. It sits at the table. It sleeps in the bunk. It waits in the corners. At first, silence feels like relief. It begins to answer you back. You start hearing the stove breathe, the wood complain, the ice move beneath the dark. The mind looks for patterns because the world has taken them away. You speak less, then to yourself, then sometimes to the storm. And still, the work continues. A station survives only if someone keeps doing the small things no one will remember. But the Arctic does not care how carefully you count. One storm can undo a week of discipline. So you dig again. You dig for the door, for the barrels, for the memory of a path. Then the weather clears, and the emptiness becomes even worse. Because now you can see exactly how far help is not coming. The ship is close enough to see, but too frozen to save you. Its masts become a calendar. Still there, still useless. You begin to understand that rescue is not a plan. It is a season. Spring is the only door, and it is locked somewhere beneath the ice. Until then, you live between flame and frost, between hunger and ration, between silence and the fear of your own thoughts. This is where endurance becomes more than strength. It becomes routine, memory, and the refusal to stop moving. But the body keeps score. Fingers stiffen, sleep thins, hunger sharpens every smell, and the mind starts turning small problems into enormous ones. A missing tool feels like betrayal. A weak flame feels like a warning. This is not madness. It is isolation doing its work. So you build rules. Wake. Check the fire. Count the food. Clear the door. Listen to the ice. The routine does not save you. But without it, you disappear faster. Then, after weeks of sameness, something changes. A darker line in the ice. A softer wind. A sound that was not there yesterday. Hope returns carefully, Because the Arctic punishes early belief. A thaw can open water, or it can break the ground beneath your feet. Now survival changes shape. For months, the ice was your jailer. Now it becomes unstable ground. You need open water, but not too fast. Freedom can arrive violently. The station that kept you alive can no longer hold the story still. You inspect the boat, not as a tool, but as a possible future. You check the seams, the rope, the oars, the weather that may change before you launch. After surviving the cold, you must survive the escape. Because the Arctic does not become safe when it becomes liquid. A storm can return. A flow can close. A weakened body can fail at the final mile. So you wait again, this time for the right opening. Waiting was the first test. Waiting is also the last. Look back at the station, and it seems impossible that wood and flame held you this long. For 180 days, it was a world of smoke, hunger, ice, and thoughts you could not outrun. You survived by shrinking life to essentials. Heat, food, direction, discipline. Everything else became noise. But surviving is not the same as leaving unchanged. The Arctic leaves with you, even when the station does not. So could you survive the cold? Could you survive the hunger? Could you survive the silence when it began to sound like a voice? Could you wait for spring without trusting it too soon? For most of history, survival in places like this was not heroic. It was repetitive. It was doing the necessary thing again and again, while the world gave you no applause. That is what made the Arctic station so dangerous. It did not strike once. It waited until you were tired enough to make one small mistake. One forgotten flame. One open door. One wrong step into white. Because in an Arctic whaling station, the cold does not need to chase you. It only needs you to stop fighting back.